Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Job, the 15th chapter. Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite and said, Should a wise man utter vain knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? So, you proclaim yourself wise. Do you think it is becoming of you to be speaking such vain words? As it says, and fill his belly with the east wind. You're just basically talking like today. One would say you're talking out your ass, right? Should he reason with unprofitable talk? Which is, like he's saying, that's what you're doing right now, right? You're trying to reason, you're trying to make a point with unprofitable talk. What you're saying is not holding any weight. Or with speeches wherewith he can do no good. Yea, thou castest off fear and restrainest prayer before God. So you speaking as one without fear. For thy mouth uttereth thine iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. The NLT says, your sins are telling your mouth what to say. Your words are based on clever deception. NIV, your sin, it's kind of like saying, because you've done this, that, and the third, that's why you're trying to justify yourself, right? That's why you're speaking the way you're speaking. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee that you have sinned. Because here it is, why are you going through all this? And then now you're trying to justify yourself, right? People that are good, God ain't just going to start doing all this to you for no reason, right? That's their whole point. Verse 7, art thou the first man that was born? Or was thou made before the hills? Hast thou heard the secret of God? And dost thou restrain wisdom to thyself? So have you truly understood the secret things of the Lord? Is wisdom contained within you? What knowest thou that we know not? What understandest thou which is not in us? So you speaking all this, you're not any wiser than us, right? What things do you know that we don't? With us are both the gray-headed and very aged men, much elder than thy father. See, so we we know a lot more, and we know what we're talking about. Okay, these gray hairs ain't for nothing. Shit, some of us are even older than your father. Are the consolations of God small with thee? Is there any secret thing with thee? In the NLT, it says, is God's comfort too little for you? Is his gentle word not enough? Why doth thine heart carry thee away? And what do thy eyes wink at? NLT, what has taken away your reason? And what has weakened your vision, that you're speaking this way? That thou turnest thy spirit against God, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth. So what has gotten into you? That you're basically speaking against your Creator, and you're allowing yourself to let these words out your mouth. What is man that he should be clean? And he which is born of a woman that he should be righteous. So we're inherently, right, imperfect, let alone for one of us to claim to be righteous against God. Behold, he putteth no trust in his saints. Yea, the heavens are not clean in his sight. So the Lord is so perfect that he can claim, he can say, right, that the heavens are not clean enough, right, in his presence. And you think you can proclaim your cleanness and righteousness before him? How much more abominable and filthy is man, that which drinketh iniquity like water? Meaning we sin so much, it's like drinking water. I will shew thee, hear me, that which I have seen I will declare, which wise men have told from their fathers and have not hid it. I'm going to declare to you the wise sayings, the secrets of old, unto whom alone the earth was given, and no stranger passed among them. And he's talking here about the those, like when it says here, the wise men that have not hid it, he's saying these are men, NLT, from those to whom the land was given long before any foreigners arrived. So the original elders of the land, unto whom, or Slakia, verse 20, the wicked man travaileth with pain all his days. So now once again he's speaking, and he's basically saying, I'm speaking to you old wisdom, right? Wisdom that is known, okay, that is passed down from the elders, things that are used to admonish us and raise us up, and all of those things. And so he basically goes on to describe, as he mentions here, right, what the fate that befalls the wicked, right, and how when you live a certain lifestyle, certain things happen to you. Okay, and now, and as he speaks on this, we can start to see that parallel, right? You can see, you start to get an image of a nation of people that this fits, and that's why, some of these precepts you'll see we use when describing or speaking against Esau, because he is an example or even a testament to the validity, you could say, of this wisdom here, right? Of this we'll just call it wisdom here. So this is Job 15:20. It says, the wicked man travaileth with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor. Now I'm actually going to read this in the NLT. It says, the wicked wreath in pain throughout their lives. So they don't live, a comfortable life. Eventually their wickedness will catch up to them. Years of trouble are stored up for the ruthless. A dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer shall come upon him. Right? So he is made to fear because in his prosperity, destruction will come upon him. Right? And like I mentioned, for example, with Esau, we can see that, right? We can see how this is exemplified, even in prophecy, with Esau being one example where in his prosperity, right? In Job, was that 20? It goes into that, right? When he's about to fill his belly, as he looks like he's prospering, the Lord is actually going to bring destruction upon him, right? Via the destroyer, which is Yahushua. Okay, and that goes back to the time of Egypt. He believed, or he believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for, of the sword. So he fears that if he goes out there into that darkness, he's not coming back. And that out there's somebody waiting for him with the sword. It's just kind of like having the fear of retribution or fear of judgment or justice that's is going to be exacted upon you. He wandereth abroad for bread, saying, where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. So he knows that his time is coming. And that's the same thing with these devils. They know that, and that's why they're moving so fast to try and avoid it. A lot of the things they're doing in their attempts are to try and avoid what they already know. Okay? NLT, it says, they wander around saying, where can I find bread? They know that their day of destruction is near. Trouble and anguish shall make him afraid. They shall prevail against him as a king ready to the battle, right? So as a king or a mighty one is ready to the battle to take that victory against his foes, so will trouble and anguish overtake and prevail against the wicked. For he stretcheth out his hand against God, so he takes action against God in his wicked deeds, and strengtheneth himself against the Almighty. He runneth upon him, even on his neck, upon the thick bosses of his bucklers. And this is basically a visual of him basically trying to fight against God, right? NLT says, holding their strong shields, they defiantly charge against him. That is the Lord. And as I mentioned, how this is exemplified in Esau and all the things that they're doing, like, yeah, they're not holding traditional shield and buckler and flying up to the heaven, but in the technology they're building, right, in their weapons they're setting up, thinking they can actually fight against the Lord. They can overthrow the Most High. That is an example of them fighting against the mighty, against the Almighty. Because he covereth his faces, or he covereth his face with his fatness, and maketh collops of fat on his flanks, which is basically saying, NLT, right? These wicked people are heavy and prosperous. Their waist bulge with fat. In the NIV, it says, though his face is covered with fat and his waist bulges with flesh, right? Which is signifying like, they've been living so lavishly, right? Enjoying that wickedness that they've, like if you were to personify somebody living comfortably or lavishly, you wouldn't, paint them as somebody, with their rib cage showing, right? Or looking anorexic. If you see somebody that's looking real fat, you tell, okay, this guy's eating. He got fat on his face and his stomach and shit. He's been eating a lot, which means he has access to food. So he's been living good. So it's saying here, right? They charge and try to fight against the Lord, right? They've been living this so-called good life for so long. They think that they can actually fight against God. And he dwelleth in desolate cities and in houses which no man abideth, which are ready to become heaps. So it says here, but their cities will be ruined, NLT. They will live in abandoned houses. They are ready to tumble down. And that's going to be their end. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance continue. See, and when it says he shall not be rich, meaning like, yeah, he may accumulate wealth, but it's not going to stay with him. It's not going to last. That's why it says his substance, neither shall his substance continue. Neither shall he prolong the perfection thereof upon the earth, right? And the perfection meaning that the riches and the life that he has built, he's not gonna perfect that, right? He's not gonna fully accomplish or enjoy that upon the earth, because what? The Lord is gonna bring judgment upon him and he's gonna lose all of that. He shall not depart out of darkness, so they'll never be able to escape the grasp of darkness. The flame shall shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth, the mouth of the Most High, shall he go away, shall he be destroyed. See, and generally speaking, that represents judgment, but it's like different kinds, right? The Lord can bring different kinds of judgment upon different kinds of people that he deems wicked. And in particular, when dealing with Esau, Edom, we know that an example of that flame, right, burning up his branches, where if you liken a person to a tree, when you burn up their branches, you're destroying it. The Lord is going to do that now with actual fire from the missiles and from the chariots, right? Fire from God. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense, right? So don't let him think that he can trust in his vain riches that he has gotten, because that same vanity is going to be his recompense, all right? And that's going to be his downfall. It shall be accomplished before his time, and his branch shall not be green, meaning he's gonna basically die before his time, right? He's gonna be taken out before he can actually enjoy a full life in that wicked labor that he has labored. When it says his branch shall not be green, because when a tree grows, right, the branches grow. If you look at from winter to spring, you have the branches, right, and then eventually you have the green leaves and so on that grow on it. If he goes before that green comes, that means he basically dies prematurely, right? Or he loses the things that he has acquired before he can fully even enjoy it. He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and shall cast off his flower as the olive. It says here, they will be like a vine whose grapes are harvested too early, like an olive tree that loses its blossoms before the fruit can form. So that's that, once again, losing that before it's ripe, right? Before they can fully enjoy that wickedness that they have set up all their lives. Verse 54 or 34, for the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery, right? Which the tabernacles of bribery is basically the dwelling place of those that, are wicked, right? That's that bribery, because that's one example of it. And what fire is going to consume, the wicked today? We know what fire that is, right? The fire labeled as the second death. Verse 35, they conceive mischief and bring forth vanity. When you conceive, right, you bring forth, right? They bring to life mischief, and they bring forth, as it says, vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit, which when you go into that word belly, one of the definitions is the the faculty of, I think, what the thoughts, seat of mental faculties. Okay, so similar to what's that? Micah 2:1, right? So their mind, their thought prepares deceit, because that is the life of a wicked man. And that brings us to the end of the book of Job, the 15th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bracha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.